Being a single mom and doing it all by yourself is brutal. Learn the brain and energy tools to get back to your center and overcome your challenges. Welcome to this episode of Single Moms Doing It All. This is your host, Muriel Felous. And we are in the middle, past the middle of February 2021, if you're listening to this episode later. And we're still going to talk about love and heart-centered parenting at a cellular level today. Before I go there, I want to ask a favor. If you're listening to this podcast often and you like what you're hearing, you get value from it, please share it with your friends and go rate and review it on iTunes, because although it's growing faster and faster, this is one of the, I think it's the most value-packed thing that I do for free. I try to really pick topics that are relevant to you every week. And I want to reach as many moms as possible, because I was reminded not so long ago by a conversation with one of my friends how sometimes difficult the journey is, and how shifting our mindset, shifting our energy, having the right tools and thoughts can make a difference. Because we were talking about having everything on our shoulders, and she's also a single mom. She was sharing with me that in the past she used to think and feel, because we feel the way we think, that everything was on her shoulders, until she became more conscious and she realized that that wasn't true. Not everything was on her shoulders. And so we were having a conversation about that, and I was also concurring with her. Not everything is on our shoulders, and not everything should be on our shoulders if we want to do a great job as parents, because we are preparing our kids for life. We need to let them spread their wings while they're still protected with a net under them, which is us. But the entire weight of them shouldn't be on the net. It shouldn't be on us. It should be shared now when they're teenagers. They really came to a moment in time where it's time for practice until you get to be a master at what you do. And the best way to become a master is to do it yourself. Like when you want to learn something, the best way to know if you've learned it, if you've understood it, is to teach it. So it's just a question of experiencing it. So that reminded me about me several years ago. Before, if you know my story, I spiraled into depression because I had too much on my plate. And I was also healing from an illness. And I didn't see myself spiraling down. It was one drop after the other until there was one that really made everything overflow without me realizing. And I found myself down into depression. Unable to, I bounced back with the tools that I teach, but at the time I was unable to go directly from where I was to where I am today in a way more positive state of mind and attitude every day. I hope you can't hear. There is an airplane flying above my house today, which is really unusual. I don't hear that often. So if you would be so kind, please share it and let the world know that you enjoy it and get value from it, so that will help other moms like us, because we're all one. Another thing that I wanted to let you know is that I've mentioned it in past episodes. I'm creating a product section on my website because some people don't like to be in memberships, so that they can purchase tapping sessions, like very specific topic-oriented tapping sessions, such as dissolving confusion and overwhelm when you have to make a decision for your family, for you, for your kids. Sometimes it's very hard, especially when it's a very difficult decision that is linked to our kids, because we're so empathic with as moms, and we're so concerned to sometimes to make mistakes. I have a lot of moms telling me that they're afraid to make mistakes and damage our kids. True, it can happen, but chances are, if you're asking yourself questions and you are educating yourself, the mistakes you may make may not be some that cannot be corrected. And plus, kids, like every human being without the S, I don't know, I love putting S at the end of words when I speak English, we are resilient, extremely resilient. So that that helps when you can shift from a body state, an emotional state that is literally in your body, from confusion to clarity, to be more neutral and being able to access your inner resources. It makes a whole different world around you. It creates, and it makes a big difference. So that's going to be up. And if there are, like I said, I create tools based on mom's feedback and on my experience. So for very specific situations, like after an argument with your teen, or if you're a mompreneur, a mom entrepreneur, and you work a lot and you feel guilty about it, I have a tapping session for that too. I have meditations and inner journeys, which are about the same, depending, and visualizations. One of them is about creating your inner sanctuary, so you can go and examine anything in your life without judgment and without shame, because most often than not, what prevents us from looking at what we need to change is the shame and the guilt. So creating a virtual, and virtual is not even the word, a sacred space that you can return to whenever you need to, where you can look at things with the support of your spiritual tribe, spiritual guides, source itself, the universe, infinite love and infinite wisdom, your ancestors, your loved ones who crossed over. It's immensely useful. And you will see stuff that you didn't even know, or sometimes they are confirmation, but also sometimes you just didn't know that's what you needed to see at the moment. So that's one of the meditations. So if there are any specific situation or heart's desires that you would like to find a meditation on that specific topic that you can't find anywhere, I just created one based on a mom's request for a meditation on forgiveness with our teenagers, with a daughter, but it can be a son too, where we both will be able to forgive them for anything that we may not know we carry resentment about, that they did to us. Sometimes it's not always conscious. Sometimes the way we perceive things attach negative emotions to situations without even us being conscious about it. So for us to give them forgiveness and for us to ask their spiritual self, their energy, their true self for forgiveness where we may have hurt them, not willingly, but that can happen, and for them to receive it without all the human negative blocks and emotions and anger that can be present at the moment, and for it to be received by them, and for the energy to flow to them, the forgiveness energy, the forgiveness requests and the love, so that they can in return, and all that on an energy level, forgive us, and it will improve our relationship physically on the day-to-day life. You may hear today that I am not speaking, my flow is not as continuous and smooth as usual. To be fully transparent, last week I was rear-ended and I ended up with a concussion where I was literally in bed for several days, where I was crawling to the bathroom to go throw up because I could not stand up. I had too much vertigo. It's much better. I have still a few headaches. I did a ton of Reiki on myself, a ton of healing, and I rested. And I'm not fully back to myself. My ideas are not flowing as easily as usual. So my rhythm, my pace of speaking, my voice even, may not be the same, but I'm well on my way to recovery. And hopefully I should be better next week. I still can think, but I don't think as fast. That's what it is. Life told me, you have to rest, I guess. I still am trying to figure out the lesson in being rear-ended with somebody that denied even impacting my car because there was no damage. So I was in such shock. My daughter, my middle daughter, who's 19, and myself were in the car, and we were both physically impacted, physically injured, and we didn't see it coming, and the shock was so strong compared to the actual collision, because compared to the damage, Franglish. In French, it's dommage. Compared to the damage that was done to the car, it's incredibly strong. So that really surprised us. And I was in such a state of shock that it was even hard for me to speak English. It was all, I was crumbling, and we got a headache right away. That's what scared me. And I didn't have the smartness to call the cops. So that was more complicated this way. But we went to the ER, and it's whiplash and a mild concussion for me. Because I'm older, they reminded me, at your age, which I don't particularly like to hear, but they told me to be careful, and they told me what to expect. So everything is going back to normal, and all is well. So let's go to our topic today. Today we're talking about heart-centered parenting at a cellular level. So heart-centered parenting, first of all, let's define that, because heart-centered, in many cases, equates loving way of doing things, a loving way of doing things from the heart. But in truth, there is more than that. There is also the courage of doing what you need to do and setting the limits you need to set when it's necessary. And that comes from the heart too. As you know, the word courage, comes from the word coeur in French, and it means heart. So there is also a certain, first of all, an intelligence in the heart, as we know, based on the study of the Heart Math Institute in California. The heart has an intelligence that may even be stronger than the brain. It has a magnetic field that is bigger than the brain. And there is also strength in the heart. That's where our courage comes from. So when you look at your parenting and you need the courage, let's say, to enforce a rule, you know it's going to be dramatically received. There may be a lot of resistance from your teen and screaming. And today I was reading something on Facebook for a mom that was jokingly saying, what do you do when your teen refuses to talk to you? So a bunch of moms were saying, enjoy it while you have time for yourself. I just replied that when I don't let my kids' attitude or bad mood affect my day, they're always surprised, and it has way more impact than anything else. So you see here, for example, it's hard for me to gather my thoughts and go back to where I was. So let's say you know that what you are going to enforce or renew or start doing is going to create a situation where they will be moody, they will give you the whatever with the eyes rolling, or they will literally yell, and you'll have to send them to their room. You have to summon the courage within you to do it anyway, because it's not pleasant. Nobody likes to be in conflict. Nobody likes to be yelled at. Nobody likes silence treatment. But you know that it's for their own good. And you know that your role as a parent is to be sometimes setting limits and consequences, no matter how it's going to be received. So for that, you're going to have to summon the courage. And you can ask your heart for that. You can put a hand on your heart, affirm, I am strong enough. My favorite affirmation, I have what it takes. And I know I'm going to do this, and we're going to be okay. I'm going to be okay no matter what happens. I'm going to be okay even if they scream. Which brings me to the second meaning of heart-centered parenting, and where it goes to a cellular level. It's to train yourself to remember and connect. So the remembering part, remembering who you really are. You are both spiritual beings. And on that level, nothing is harsh. It's all about love and honoring each other. On a human level, it's remembering that they actually love you, even when they don't show it. And my way of doing that when I don't see it, and when I catch myself going like, I'm hurt by what they're doing, and it breaks, it offends me or it hurts me, it's to remember that under the surface, there was a story of a monastery, and I don't know if it's a true story, I believe it is, but I'm not 100% sure, that the monks that lived there, I think it's in Tibet, and they were all massacred. And many, many years later, someone discovered that there was a huge Buddha statue that still stayed from this old monastery. And that person saw a shimmering light, some kind of spark, and it was a clay Buddha statue. So they started looking closer, and they realized that under the clay was a giant gold Buddha. And the monks have done that so that the enemy would not take their treasure because it was gold. So they covered it with clay, and no one knew until the clay started eroding and that person saw it. So same thing. Remember that under all this acting out, all this rebellious behavior, there is still gold, there is still love. They still love you. That's forever. Remember when they were babies, remember moments in your life, and you can put a hand on your heart and do that. Actually, this is what we're going to focus on. One of the things we're going to focus on our upcoming life coaching session. We're going to be taking from what I talked about in the last episode, which was also activating love, which was also about what in you is triggering the opposite of love, fear and conflict. One of the things was what you assume as far as their intention when they do things. So we're going to dig into that, and we're going to dig deeper on what is in your way. We are going to do something to prevent you from being hurt and often offended by what happens by anchoring love at a cellular level. So we're going to examine several facets of the triggers that bring you to hurt, and then we're going to give it a different meaning, because that's always the way to change a story, the way to change an experience is to change the perception, and the way to change the perception is to change the story you tell yourself. So we're going to examine all that and code something else at a cellular level. So now what I'm talking about is anchoring their love to you, remembering their love to you at a cellular level in your entire body. And you can do that by going within, like put a hand on your heart right now and see them when they were 2-year-old, like so cute and loving and lovable, and you felt like kissing them all the time, and they were hugging you, and they were receiving all that love willingly and even asking for more. This is still inside your teen who's rebelling right now. So feel it in your entire body. It's still there. It can even make you giggle a little bit, because behind that dragon that you have in front of you, there is still that beautiful, cute, loving, lovable baby. So that's one way to parent from a heart-centered approach at a cellular level. The other way is to also remember in your body and activate the connection with the heart of the universe, the heart of God, the heart of source, a lot of Franglish today. The heart of the infinite love, the heart of all the spiritual guides and beings that you have around you to assist you and love you. So you remember that too at a body level, a feeling. Like put your hand on your heart chakra right now. We're going to do a rapid one. And again, we'll do that longer. If you're in the membership, you'll have access to that for free. Otherwise, I'll send a link if you're on my email list. And if you're not, you may want to go, because I have a free kit, including a tapping session, a meditation, and a visualization to help you. So I'll send you a link to purchase that specific live workshop slash coaching if you want to. So put a hand on your heart center. Breathe from it. Inhale, awareness. Exhale, anything that is in the way. And now you can keep your hand on your heart center, or you can lower your hand and imagine that heart center is getting activated. And imagine that it's opening to receive all the love that is available to you in the universe. Ask the universe, God, source, ask your angels, ask your loved ones who are on the other side, your ancestors or anything you believe in to send you love right now. And let yourself receive. Don't go in your left brain. Just stay on the feeling and imagination side. Ask to receive. And you may be feeling a physical sensation, or you may see something in your mind eye. You may feel something. Even let yourself feel it. Remove all the resistance to it. Like if it was a sound wave that you don't see but you can still hear, it's a love wave. You can't see, but you can still feel. And open your eyes and you can stay at that level of vibration, because when you do that, you align. You align with love at a vibration level. And you invite more, like we did what we did last week. And what I did in the Facebook group, I did a mini visualization to activate love in you. If you haven't seen it, you can go see it at Single Moms Doing It All on Facebook. It's a group. Just request to become a member, answer the questions, and I'll accept you and you'll have access to it. So that's what I wanted to remind you of today. To be a heart-centered parent at a cellular level, feeling it in your entire body, because the experience takes a completely different dimension when you feel it in your body. It's like something dropping in and you've got it. And you can recall that feeling on demand anytime you need to, because it can be brutal to be a parent with teenagers, especially when we have to put limits. But it doesn't have to stay brutal. It doesn't have to be brutal. It depends on your state of mind and then your emotional state. You will have a completely different perception once you think differently. Once you remember of all the tools available to you in your arsenal, both on a brain level, and on an energy level. When you combine the two, it is so powerful, it will change your life. And that's also what I call co-parenting with the universe. Because that's what I do in my life and that's what I teach you. It becomes way easier, more enjoyable, more spiritual, more sacred. It's something else completely. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Again, if you want to be part of the upcoming live coaching workshop and coaching, you can shoot me an email on my website, Single Moms Doing It All. You can join the email list. You'll receive the information. I usually also put something on the website as far as upcoming events. So you'll have ways. And I'll talk about it on not YouTube. Well, I did now because this podcast also goes on YouTube, but on Facebook. And really, what I gave you today as tools, you can apply to any relationship. Remembering the love at a cellular level. And if you have people who you wouldn't necessarily define as loving relationships, like coworkers and stuff, then you can remember the appreciation at a body level by remembering what you like in them, or if they did something that helped you, if they smiled at you. There are so many things, and it will change your perception. So until I see you again, I have several interviews that are in the queue. And I think the next one is on emotional intelligence, which is a requirement if you want to co-parent with the universe. Until I see you again, have a wonderful, heart-centered life at a cellular level. Bye for now. Mwah. Being a single mom can be challenging, but you don't have to face it alone. Join our community at facebook.com/groups/single and doing it all, and receive tools, tips, and free group coaching. And if you like this podcast, please review and rate us on iTunes. I would really appreciate it.